Yo, what's up, dogs? I went and saw Godzilla X Kong, and I have to say, I saw it twice. I saw it once on the Sunday in IMAX, and I saw it again on the Tuesday in IMAX. Two different friend groups, two different crowds. Both showings were packed, by the way. I was quite surprised at the Tuesday showing. It was just as packed as the Sunday showing, and I had concessions at both of them, and both audiences legitimately enjoyed this movie. And both of my friends that I went and saw it with, we all walked out of this movie talking about this movie, enjoying this movie, and thinking about the future installments of this movie as well. Like, especially my one buddy in Oakville, Mike, like, he's a big kaiju fan, and we were just going off back and forth. I haven't talked about, when a movie hits you a certain way where you just sit there and talk about Godzilla stuff. It's fun, you know what I'm saying? Because like it's not every day you just get to talk about Godzilla stuff. And this movie, if you're sitting there thinking about going to see it and you saw Godzilla minus one, I kind of just want to tell you that Godzilla minus one is its own thing. That's a classic Godzilla story being told there. Where Godzilla X Kong, you need to know that this is a kaiju story about big kaijus slapping each other around. You're there for the fighting. You're there for the CGI spectacle of these mammoth beasts destroying Earth, Hollow Earth. That's what you're here for. They're two different genre type of movies within the same genre, so to speak. And that's how I would look at it. So if you're ready for some big, beefy kaiju action, this is the movie you want to see. But if you're coming here for melodrama, stories about the humans interacting with kaiju and stuff like that, wrong movie, okay? Let's get that out of the way. A totally wrong movie. And honestly, I appreciate both of them. But back to just going off of talk about what's the next kaiju and like all these things, man. Oh, it's such a good time just sitting out back afterwards while my friends having a smoke and we're just talking about kaijus. You know, I love movies that make you sit there and think and talk shit about film, and that's why this movie was just so enjoyable for me both times. And on that note, let's get into the story, shall we? And the spoilers. So from this point on, we got the spoiler warning up. Get ready for everything to be spoiled for you. If you don't want it to be spoiled, peace out. Have a good time at the theaters. But for those of you going forward with me, you've been warned. Deal with it. So let's get to the story, okay? Now, the story is very straightforward, okay? We're following Kong and his trials and tribulations of being alone in the Hollow Earth. He's a smarter Kong than before. He's using traps to hunt with. And in general, he is alone. He misses the top side of things where the humans are because he is like kind of the defender of humans, but he has no humans to defend in the Hollow Earth, or so we think, right? And he goes up top to get his tooth fixed and stuff like that. Like, he still has a relationship, but he knows his place between the fight between him and Godzilla. So he knows he has to stay down in the Hollow Earth. So when he's gone, though, there is a crevice that opens up near his hunting grounds that opens a subterranean level to the Hollow Earth, which he eventually goes and explores. And when he is down there, he comes across a group of apes that are similar to him. And he even runs across this like baby ape named Suko, okay? And Suko, like Kong, Kong beats everybody up. It's a great fight scene, a good mid-boss level fight scene. And from that, Suko kind of befriends him. He doesn't trust Kong, but he also knows that he's so low on the pecking order of things with the tribe that he is with that he also has allegiances to the Scar King, and it plays out, okay? But begrudgingly, he takes Kong to his people, and when Kong gets there, he's like, oh my god, there's more like me. I have a family now. This is great. This is great news for me. However, the Scar King is in control of them, and he is a bad dude. However, like, Kong does get beaten up by him, and he has to retreat because Scar King has under his control a titan named Shimu, who shoots ice beams at everybody, right? And Shimu's really cool, actually, just like his powers and stuff. So Kong has to escape, and Suko helps him escape and stuff like that. But because of that, the minions of Scar King chase after him to kill him, and Kong beats them all up with one hand, with the help of Suko, obviously. And eventually Kong uses, I guess he has telepathy with Gia, because he finds Gia with the tribe of Iwi people who are in the subterranean. There's a whole human thing. I don't even care to go over. It's human stuff. They know they're doing stuff. And he goes there, he gets help from the iwi people, and he gets help from the other humans that are down there, Trapper in particular, who has this power glove thing that he gives Kong and helps heal him and stuff like that. It's really cool. And with that information, one of the minions goes back to Scar King and is like, hey, yo, I found portals for us to go up top. And so Scar King now shows up, and Kong is like, oh, I need help to fight Scar King. Because of Shimu, I need Godzilla's help. So he goes up top, gets Godzilla. They have a cool fight. They come back down. They have another cool fight between everybody down there is fighting. And then eventually the fight leads uptown, and there's more devastation and destruction uptown. It's wild. And then the movie ends. Godzilla wins. I mean, King Kong wins. Well, Godzilla wins too. The end, right? And then King Kong goes back down to the subterranean level. He has Shimu with him. He has Zuko with him. Reunites with the kingdom that's down there. And he's like pretty much the new king of that area, right? Good ending. And then Godzilla goes back to sleep. And I have to say that like the Godzilla subplot is just literally him beating stuff up and getting more powerful. But this movie is true a King Kong movie. Now, let's get on to the good. I have so many good things in this movie. I love this film. It was so much fun. So the first thing that is good, okay? Everything with King Kong in this movie is absolutely awesome, okay? I just liked, first of all, I liked the way he was animated. He has a certain swagger with him. He has this vibe of like, you know, fuck around, find out kind of vibe out here, right? Like everyone who steps up to him, like he gives them the chance, the opportunity to kind of back away from this fight. Like you don't want this smoke. And everyone who comes up to him honestly gets a good beat down. You know what I'm saying? The only one that kind of stands up to him is Scar King, but Scar King has to cheat and bring out Shimu to even the odds, because that's how badass Kong is, okay? And there's a lot of scenes in this movie. There's some beautiful shots in this movie of just Kong being Kong, and he's very emotive, he's very expressive, and there's at times when you're watching this movie where it's just silent, but it's Kong, and you just know what's going on. It's so peaceful and beautiful. I loved it. And there are elements of this movie when he gets with Zuko where you're literally thinking of him and Kratos, like the parallels of them, like Kratos and the boy, right? There's so many elements where you're just like, oh, this is God of War now, but I'm following Kong and Zuko. And it's fun. It's just a good time. Everything with Kong is great from beginning to end. All the fights with Kong are awesome. I enjoyed every element with Kong. Like, he's just great, okay? The next great thing is actually Zuko. He grew on me. Like, he was great from the moment you see him, because he comes across as this little cutie, but he's actually quite a dick. He's a bitch. Like, he attacks Kong. Like, there's a great scene in this movie where Kong literally uses him as a weapon and beats down other apes with him. It's so good. I laughed so hard. So did everyone else around me. We enjoyed it. And he's just like, Zuko just is like just a little bitch. But he grows on you. He has his own trials and tribulations where he becomes more confident in himself, and he has a final battle with one of the minion apes where he becomes his own opponents. And actually, he does save the day, so to speak, at the end as well with the axe. So there's a lot of comeuppance for Zuko. So the next thing that is awesome in this movie is Godzilla himself. And Godzilla in this movie doesn't have a big role, but his role really is to drive the humans insane because he's killing everybody. He beats up some kaiju, and his whole goal right now is to level himself up. He's kind of like Goku. He's just doing training missions so he can reach Super Saiyan level 2, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he does. He beats up a kaiju at the beginning, I forget its name. He eats and absorbs radiation from a factory in France. Then he goes to the Arctic and beats up Tiamat, destroys him. Goes into a cocoon mode like state and absorbs like all the Earth's radiation that's coming from the sun and stuff, only to turn into pink Godzilla. So it's like Shinra Godzilla. I can't remember which one it is. That's the pink one, and that's so cool. But that's his whole thing. And then he shows up to beat up Shimu at the end and Scar King at the end. Like, it's just like, that's all he does. Oh, and he has a great fight with King Kong too. That fight is awesome in Egypt. Great fight. Actually, all the kaiju fights are awesome. We're going to get to that. What's next is I liked the Scar King. I thought he was actually super cool. He's very flamboyant, kind of zesty, you know what I'm saying? The way he's animated, he really reminded me a lot of If you've played Street Fighter 3, Remy, the British dude who throws the knives and stuff, there's a certain swagger about him. And there's also this, like, I don't know, he kind of reminded me of Doc Holliday, like Val Kilmer's Holiday. Just this, like, there's something about him. Like, there's a scene with Scar King confronting Kong, and he, like, does this thing with Kong's tooth, and he just laughs at him. But the way he's posed and stuff, if we want to do an even deeper dive on just how the swagger is of this character, he reminded me of the gunslinger Britt from Mag 7, played by James Colburn. I don't know why this is the imagery that's in my head when I saw this character, but that's what I felt, and I just loved him. I thought he was super cool, great addition. He dies great. He's cool. He's got good fights. He's a good combo guy. He's always countering everything King Kong does, and it's just fun. He's just a great character, even though he's not around for a long time. But the moments that he's on screen, you know what? Enjoyable. So the next thing that I really liked in this movie is all of the kaiju fighting in general in this movie is great. You get tons of it. This movie is an hour and 55 minutes long, and I want to say you get a beginning fight scene, you get a Godzilla fight scene, you get a middle fight scene, you get mid-boss fight scenes in between, you get the first confrontation of him and Scar, you get this crazy gravity. Actually, you get to fight with Godzilla versus Kong at Egypt. You get this crazy anti-gravity fight scene before they go back to Earth and destroy everything on Earth. Like, there's so many fight scenes. I think the last, I want to say 20 minutes of this movie is nothing but fight scene of just the humans are there. Who cares, right? It's like, okay, this is great, you know? There's so much fight. If you want just kaiju fighting, this is for you, okay? Let's get to the bad. I don't have a lot of bad in here, actually. Okay, so obviously the first thing that's bad in this movie, once again, it's the humans. But at this point in time with this franchise, saying the humans are bad is just comical at this point. We know what to expect when you go to watch this movie, that the humans are not going to be cool or fun or any of that. However, there are moments in this movie where the humans are actually fun and actually cool, and you have a good time with them. But they are just so many moments where convenient plot devices happen, and it's just like the constant exposition dumps that these characters drop on you, and the convenience factor, like I said, and just everything is just like, okay, like sure, there's a power glove down at base 1 in Hollow Earth that's been there for however long, and you're just like, yeah, okay, that's cool, I accept it, whatever. So that's bad. It's kind of corny, but at this point, it's just like, you expect it. But like, I think the thing that makes it a little bit worse than usual is you are kind of like just into Kong and his world. It's very Planet of the Apes-ish, where you kind of could just hang out with Kong with no words and just understand what's going on with Kong, because the animation on Kong is so expressive, and he's telling a story with his body and facial movements, right? Where you're just kind of like, I don't need humans to tell me anything, you know? So the next thing that sucks is, this is a nitpick really, is Scar King, okay? When you when you hear the lore of Scar King and you're like, oh, he's been trapped under the subterranean lair for hundreds of thousands of years and stuff, and when you finally get introduced to Scar King, you see him with this crew of apes, and they're literally just mining. They're moving boulders around for, it looks like, the sake of moving boulders around. Like, he's built nothing cool. There's no grand empire under here. He just has a bunch of slave monkeys. He keeps the hot monkeys for himself to bang in the back, because you see that. So he's kind of like Humongous Joe from Mad Max, but like no extravagance, no nothing. Nothing's being done. His people just work. It's like they wake up every day and go, oh, I'll move rock pile 1 to rock pile 2, and I'll just do that again. Because like it doesn't even look like he's exploring the Hollow Earth section that he lives in to find portals to get the hell out of there. It's so weird. It's so boring, and you're just kind of like, what have you been doing, Scar King? Just banging? It's dumb, okay? So the next thing that I was like, this is a nitpick, because I was confused, okay? I've seen the movie twice. I still don't understand what's going on with Mothra and Gia, okay? So Gia shows up and is like, she touches this thing and she unlocks Mothra, who I don't know what's happened to Mothra. I think where's Mothra's egg? Like, that's how she comes back. But we got this like golden Mothra is what I call her, who's like a spiritual. I don't get it, okay? I just don't get it. And there's a scene in the movie when Mothra goes back up top because Kong and uh, Godzilla are fighting each other at Egypt, and they have a scene where they're both beside the Sphinx, and Mothra's there, and Gia is on top of the Sphinx with Mothra behind her. And I'm like, what is going on here? How is this working? There's multiple instances with Mothra and Gia that just don't make sense, and I could have used a little exposition there, okay? Because I don't understand how the two were connected, like spiritually, physically, mentally, I got it, okay? She could talk to Mothra. She could talk to Kong via her brain. But the transportation of Gia with Mothra made no sense. I actually thought Gia turned into Mothra for a minute there, and that's how Mothra's around right now. But I don't know. The whole thing confused me, and I was just like, okay. Okay. Mothra's here doing Mothra things. Another thing that I just want to point out it's not bad, it's a nitpick. And it's the Iwi people, their grand plan, which is absolutely ridiculous, was the defense against kaiju slash giant monkeys was, we're going to create this system, this technology that when the two crystals bang together, it reverses the polarity gravity of the area that they're in, causing a zero gravity zone, so there's no gravity there, they're just all floating around. But the thing is like, it only lasts for 3 minutes. So what was the point of this tactic? Like, was it enough of a tactic for you to turn it on so you could just run away? Because it's just so dumb. Makes for a great action sequence between all the kaiju and stuff. That was great. But the philosophy behind it of like, why? What's the point of this? And does the gravity not affect the humans? It's weird. It's weird. Silly. And the final little nitpick is, and I actually was a little disappointed by this. I can't believe it. I'm disappointed about the credits, because all the movies prior to this, you got cool Monarch graphics, right? Of like newspapers, blacklisted stuff, interesting kaiju that's been found, or what's this over here and that. And we didn't get any Monarch papers at the end. We just got good old-fashioned plain black and white text of who did what, and it was disappointing because those credits are always kind of fun. It sparks like Easter egg conversations, and it sparks a conversation online or with your friends. And I thought, hey, missed opportunity, you know? I already talked about the silly, which was the whole, oh wait, no, this is a different silly. I forgot. I don't understand the rules of the Hollow Earth, okay? There's a scene in this movie, okay? So there's gravity. Obviously there's gravity because Kong is on one level, but above him is nature as well, okay? And there's scenes where you see rivers flowing above him. And I'm sitting there going, how does the rivers stay up there, right? So is there like a gravitational level between where he is on Hollow Earth and where Upper Hollow Earth is? You know what I'm saying? So like if he jumped high enough, would he flip and then be up on that Earth area? I don't know. I don't understand how the water works. I don't even understand how sun works down there, because I'm thinking the brightness comes from the refractive light from the crystals that are under there. I don't know. Anyways, let's carry on, shall we? On that note, I got questions. This is for you guys in the comments section. First question is, do you think the next movie, Kong, will finally be called King Kong? He now has an empire. He has, people to rule over. So he should be King Kong now. I'm waiting for him to be called King Kong. And it should be the next movie. So the final question, two-parter here, is I don't think Godzilla was powering up to fight Shimu in the Hollow Earth. I actually think he was powering up for something bigger to come from space, which would be Space Godzilla. And that's why he's trying to get as much radiation as possible, because he knows a bigger threat is coming. Because at the end of this movie, Kong gets the final kill on Scar King. He smashes them in half. And Godzilla doesn't kill Shimu. Shimu leaves with Kong to the Hollow Earth. They're buddies. So Godzilla was powering up for something, but it definitely wasn't for Scar or Shimu, in my personal opinion. I think something bigger's coming, and I think it's Space Godzilla, and I hope that happens. And the second thing is, I want to see Biollante show up in this universe, because I think at this point in time, the power level of Godzilla, the only thing to really maybe beat up Godzilla or slow him down is Biollante, because he has the poison attacks that weaken Godzilla, And I think it would also be cool if it was a Canadian kaiju, by the way. That would be awesome. He could be out in our forests. And I think it would be also a cool way for them to get Kong some new abilities. Maybe that's where he gets the venom power, so he could power up that arm some more and get those steroids going. There's elements here. I'm just thinking story-wise. Guys, I know this review is already super long, and I just want to say, should you see this movie? 100%. Cheap night with your friends. Go see it. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it. It's so much fun. It's a blast. Like, from beginning to end, I don't think once I was like, when's this movie over? It's so much fun. It might be the best Godzilla versus movie yet. Like, it's just so well done. I just enjoyed every minute of it. And I think I will buy this movie. I actually realized I don't have any of the modern Godzilla stuff in my collection when I was getting ready to do this. There's nothing behind me. So I actually have to go back and get that collection put together because they are fun. My favorite is still Skull Island. I love it. But this one might surpass Skull Island. Might. But I really love Skull Island. It's so much fun. On that note, that's the end of the review. I think this has been a long one, so thanks for bearing with me. And on this note, whatever movie you guys are watching, I hope you're loving them and digging them. I'm out of here. Peace out, guys.